Hey everybody, Greg Barron, aka Professor of Real Estate. Thanks for joining again today. Today we're going to talk about soft costs, primarily architecture, civil engineering, MEP, those things that are important that normally are going to be expended prior to ever putting a shovel in the ground. There's a lot to be said on this, but I'm going to show you the essentials. This is really the first step in trying to determine how you know the type of architect, the type of civil engineering, when to employ them, and what kind of costs that you need to account for. I can tell you that it depends. In each asset class, you're going to have specific consultants that will help you that are boutique in nature normally, that become qualified to help you design and engineer for your particular asset class. I've done practically all the asset classes from multifamily, nursing, senior living, medical. I've done office, anything you could probably imagine in 37 years. I've had the opportunity of employing consultants in each of these. In my past, I've also had my own architecture and engineering company. Well, still have my own engineering company, but I employed a couple of dozen architects for 10 to 12 years, so I intimately know about this process. So when you're first starting this journey of developing, you need to go out with RFQs to 2 or 3 architects within your specific geographic region that are primarily involved in the asset class that you are going to develop. Now, I can say this because I used to have a firm where we did all the asset classes, and sometimes we failed miserably and learned by example. My particular advice to you is find those architects, get references that where they are specialized in that particular type of asset class. I'll give you an example. We've got specific daycare, medical, certainly multifamily. They know the constraints. They know all the particular dimensioning that needs to go on. And many times they have an elevated sense of understanding of the municipalities that are overseeing it and the particular agencies that will be looking at those plans, and you don't want somebody learning on your dime. So try to find a specialized architect that's in that particular asset class. Now, a lot of times people ask me, what should I allocate for my proforma for those particular classes of architects? And I'm going to say again, it depends. There are some, for example, within the medical field, if you're doing a medical office building or if you're doing a freestanding emergency clinic, that you're going to pay a little bit more for because it's like going from a general practitioner to a surgeon. You pay a little more for a specialized knowledge. Normally, we start out at all in with mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural engineer, and architecture at about 7.5% to 8%. Now, that can be chopped up different ways, and if you've got some experience, you'll say, well, I paid a whole lot less or I paid a whole lot more. Well, you very well could have. On some of the value adds where it gets a little messy, where you've got to go in and do some as-built dimensioning on an existing facility, you're going to pay a little bit more. If you've just got a shade and shelter building or a white box industrial, you're going to pay a lot less. So it just depends upon what type of asset you're going to be developing. But normally I start to take a percentage, and most of the time they are going to price it as a percentage of your total development cost. Now, in selecting them, I would send out a very detailed RFQ to those that you've been referenced to get your pricing from, and then scope it out and then do an interview process. So once you've done that, you will also have to hire a civil engineer, and all of these costs that you are going to expend are prior to ever putting a shovel in the ground. Most of the time, you as a developer are going to have to front that money to get to a certain level, to get it to the point of permitting before you can ever go out and get a construction or permanent loan. But without that, you're not going to have data to be able to hand over your contractor, to be able to get pricing, to be able to stick into your proforma to know if it's a go or a no-go. So as far as architecture, MEP, civil engineering, structural engineering go, and some of the other specialties, start with that basic component. And then in another module, we're going to talk to you about some specifics, and I'll even give you some contract examples of what we've used in the past. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you soon.